to help cover our running costs and future projects by visiting www.muslimcentral.com/donate.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to a tag-along episode. I am your host, Bilal Khan, and I'm here with...
Wisam Sharieff.
Yes. Well, Wisam has been pioneering adult learning for Quran for a long time. And now...
I'd like to say more than 10 years.
Yeah, for the last decade plus. So, and that, I guess the learnings from that led to Quran Revolution. Yeah. And, with Al-Maghrib and all these other guys, systemizing it and making it accessible for all of us. Now we're going into year 2 almost. Yes. Year 2 begins when?
Year 2 will begin in February. Our first semester will complete. So for about February 20th, year 2 will begin.
Gotcha. Now, are the plans, I know we talked about certain things, but are these plans like solid in terms of what's happening with year 2, or is there
So right now, the only thing that's in place for everyone is there is a year 2. But we've decided that there's no way for us to pin it down and say this is the single track. Year 2 will most likely, and I'll announce it now, have 2 tracks. A track for understanding and a track for right to retain, which will lead you towards a memorization track.
Okay, gotcha.
But
cool.
We were talking about that. Education, right?
Yeah.
And just to give a quick touch before we jump in, adult education has completely changed. The idea that I stayed in a madrasa and sat and read Quran from Fajr till Isha, sometimes 10 to 12 hours a day, the idea of that isn't in scope anymore. So on the flip side, I'm then going to tell you there are how many lines of Quran was it?
Earlier today I was just kind of doing a calculation as to, all right, so if somebody really wanted to memorize Quran, let's do some basic math, right? The Uthmani Mus'haf.
Close enough. Uthmani Mus'haf.
The
Try saying that
Mus'haf,
that 4 times.
or the Usmani Mus'haf, or the Usmani Quran has 15 lines per page.
20
you have 20 pages per juz, per para, and then you have 30 juz, right?
Yeah, and so then we subtracted the banners of the surah names and 113 bismillahs because Surah Tawbah didn't
so 113 bismillahs and 114 banner titles and surah titles. We basically came out to something like 8,773 lines, right? So now if you were to break that up into how many years would it take if you were to go with the philosophy of one line at a time? Well, the actual philosophy was Balighu
Anni walau ayah.
Balighu anni walau ayah.
Teach the people or propagate an ayah, propagate even if it's one ayah.
Right. So if we look at it, the number-wise, one a day would get you 25 years.
24, yeah?
Just over 24 years. 24.6 years.
Yes, you're right.
Right? This is the geeky guy in me coming out, the math nerd. The numbers, the analyst. So anyway, we were looking at that and I'm like, look, the seerah is 23 years.
Yes.
So that's like the most chill, organic way to go about it. Now, is one thing to go cover to cover.
Right.
But that's kind of tough and it's hard to keep the motivation to be able to do that.
It's a lot longer of a path.
Yeah. So
it's like trying to increase in 1 pound increments.
Yes.
Your 300 pound bench press is pretty far away. Then.
Yeah. So, and sometimes you just have to have some of those, like squat holidays where you work out three times a day for 6 days straight and you put on like an extra 50 pounds in a month. So, but it's a similar concept. So one of the things that with Quran Revolution we have level 4, understand?
Level 4 is understand, the art of understanding.
Right.
Level 4.
In the art of understanding, one of the things that you showcase to us is specific ayat, if we can learn them, or would basically give us the basic keys to unlocking the rest of the Quran.
Right.
So I was just thinking and for those of you who are unfamiliar, those verses, correct me if I'm wrong, is we got Surah Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Asr, Surah Al-Fusilat, the famous videos for those of you who are some old school Al-Maghrib veterans.
Throwback.
You know what? One of the things, and you guys can hold me to this, I'm going to put up some throwback series of old videos that...
so you can hear... إِنَّ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهُ ثُمَّ اسْتَقَامُوا.
Yes.
You remember that, right? I remember that too. That was the first time we went out to a tree. He was like, recite something. I was like, okay. And now I listen to that. And if it's, I don't know, it's inappropriate to say, but I copy myself. Like I listened to that video. I'm like, I want to sound like that.
You were in the zone. You captured that moment. It's like, great. I want to make that peak moment each time.
And everyone keeps telling me, they're like, do it again. I'm like, no. now. Can't. It's inorganic. I just go back to that moment and recreate it. But yes, from the throwbacks, we've been talking about adult learning. And if you all want to take a chance to start breaking down your lessons now, Bilal's going to give you a way to go through oft-recited surahs, start with this section, and then kind of divide and conquer the Quran.
Yeah.
My quick 2 cents on this is, if you're going to make $1 million, then why not make $1 billion? If you're going to get to Jannah, why not accept it now? If you're going to memorize the Quran, so here's my third piece of logic, then assume that you've done it already and read a juz a day for the rest of your life. And then it's like, well, before you go, you'll have retained most of it. So I'll come back with you later, but consume a juz a day, touch a juz a day, run your fingers over it, but every day for the rest of your life. And in 20 years, hey, you might have done a little bit more than just memorize, but you'll get very familiar with it.
Now, the thing is, as I understand it, you're basically communicating the idea of make Quran part of our life and lifestyle, right? Now, when you go by the exact mathematical number of 1 juz a day every day for the rest of your life, it's like, oh my God, how am I going to do that, right? I could barely read it in 1 hour, like a page, right? Some people might be at that point and I think what works is set out a block of time, right? That you can dedicate for sure. I think 20 minutes minimum is fair. You'll get through a page easy in 20 minutes. And this is the other thing, the other calculation I was doing. Okay, so 25 years seems kind of overwhelming, right? Granted, if I do it organically, make it part of my lifestyle, it's fair to say 25 years. So now the other thing could be like, okay, what if we do page a day?
Okay.
Right? Not memorizing, but reading.
Oh, if you read a page a day again and again.
Right, and that's 500 pages, right? 500 pages, a year and a half approximately gets me through the entire Quran once. Right. So I was just thinking to myself, okay, at minimum, a win. Like, and this is something that easy life hack, I suppose one could go about it, right? Like I started this workout program. It was a 6-month program. How do you ensure that you go through the entire program for 6 months, right? Some people are like, oh my God, I don't know if I could do it for like 3 weeks, right? So I was like, all right, so this program has a 5-day split. What is considered a win or a success for me? Making sure that I hit the arms day. Okay. Every arms day this month, if I hit it, I score an A.
You've succeeded.
Yes, I have succeeded. Bonus, I do chest and back also. Okay. Right? But like if I'm trying to go for Super Saiyan, GT level 9000, right? I'm probably messing it up for you, all you GT fans. You're probably cringing. But, at that point, you hit all 5 days for like 2 weeks straight. That's like awesome, right? But the thing is, for 6 months, if I just hit the arms day, I win, right? Like I'm setting myself something that I can most definitely do. So at minimum, reading a page a day is not like, at least from me, from my skill level, from what I'm capable of, is totally doable.
And then once you're done with that page, the challenge for me is, can you turn the next 19?
Can you hit at least 20 days, right? You finish one whole juz. Yeah. Right? And the bonus beyond that would be, hey, maybe you want to take maybe an hour, because I was looking at it, we were doing the writing portion. Yeah. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? The writing portion with the video, it's slow.
Yes.
Right? So when you're talking about slow writing speed, a page took about an hour.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're going to write the full page, that's an hour. That's taking it slow, and that's totally doable. Even if you don't know how to write, you're just tracing.
Yes. So if anyone totally like tripped out there on writing a page, like, what? I don't even read. He wants me to write. It's a culture that's coming. If you're not hip to it yet, just wait till it's packaged and put in a box. But everyone on the underground is totally loving the interaction of writing your own Quran. Why would you read someone else's?
Yeah. So again, if you know how to write the basic stuff, like even if you can't recall from memory, like that's super advanced. I can't even do that.
No, I don't react from memory. Right? Look at the Quran and treat it like shapes. Treat it like you're tracing. So if there's a C with an L and a Ya, then go ahead and try it.
In Surah Al-Kafirun, there's قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا what was it? Ana? What was it?
Ana, yeah. Alif, Noon, Alif.
Yeah, Alif, Noon, Alif, aka L-U-L. Okay. Or LOL.
So what he's talking about too is there's a word in Surah Al-Kafirun, Alif, Noon, Alif, which is Ana, but it's pronounced Ana.
Yeah.
So I guess that's something we just have to figure out.
Right. So just as, this is my way of kind of having fun and playing around with here's the thing. Like, I think we need to kind of
acronyms, because when you make acronyms or you make a way to remember something, it's going to stay in your mind. يتفكرون, you'll be contemplating it all the time.
So يتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض.
There you go. So you know yourself. It's been a great. It's been a great tag along. I don't know how many people are going to benefit, but like, there's so much that you guys can take from the two combination. He's talking about a page a day. I'm talking about touching the juz. I'm talking about writing it.
There's a lot of options, guys.
Totally.
There's so many options. The key thing is to pick one and run with it.
Totally.
Right? So it's like, you got a page a day, take you 500 days to finish it. You go a line a day, you'll memorize it, you'll finish it in 25 years. That's totally acceptable.
If you're going to win the multi-million jackpot lottery and make $100,000 a month or whatever they're going to pay you for the rest of your life, you would do anything for that.
Yeah.
If you truly believe this is the word of God and that you are going to memorize it and attain paradise, who cares how long it takes? Right? Who cares whether you get everyone certifies you or you're entitled? Because we live in this new culture. It took me 1 year and I'm a doctor and I memorized the whole Quran. Look, if I'm going to win Jannah through the act of retention, I don't mind how long it's going to take.
Here's the thing. Fall in love with the process.
Allahu Akbar.
That's what it really comes down to.
And then Bilal, say tomorrow you woke up. Okay, hey guys, tomorrow morning, and I pray this could happen to someone. Don't trip if it does. You wake up in your Hafiz. Does that mean you stop reading Quran?
Of course not.
Of course, right? That means you're going to wake up and do nothing but now maintain that Quran.
Yeah, because memorizing is only part of the journey. Like my brother, he memorized Quran before he finished high school. Right? So he started when he finished
middle school.
Right. It took him 4 years to finish memorizing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but even then, only last year was he able to successfully. Now, my brother. Last year, how long had it been? So since 2009. Right, I think 2009 is when, or I don't even know what year he finished. I think
he told me it's like 6 to 7 years to get it into like.
Only last year was he able to lead Salah and Tarawih by himself.
Congratulations to Nihal Khan.
Be able to do that.
That is amazing. That is an accolade that not a lot of people, I don't know if that word is usable here, but it is a benchmark to say he recited Tarawih on his own without someone going to lead the other 10. And that means you're holding your own. Once you lead a Tarawih, you know what you're doing though. Congratulations, Nihal.
And I didn't understand this nor appreciate this.
The idea that I memorized the Quran, like really genuinely, does that mean you could wake me up at any point and then 6 hours I'll recite the whole Quran? It's a very variable science and no one likes to look underneath the carpet on how many people still are Hafiz. So let me be the first to tell you, I memorized the Quran at least once or twice.
It's like somebody
and I'm going to keep doing it.
And can they still fight?
And there you go. I'm going to keep memorizing now. So I have stopped telling people I memorized the Quran. I started saying I've memorized it twice. I'm looking forward to 10 times. I'm looking forward to 25 memorizations. I wonder how many you guys will be up for then.
It's fair to say with some memorized it 10 times. You got the 10.
We got a few. That's another level though. For you Dragon Ball fans, if you're done powering up and you want to go to the next level and need that halo on your head, Ashura is where we're going to hang out. We'll Goku up there another time, inshallah. But Ashura is coming. Just so we can can we say it?
Yeah.
Year 2 is a right to retain program or understand, then memorization, retention, and then Ashura Qira'at. So I hope within the next 60 months between me, you, I, and Bilal, Bilal, you guys, and myself, we have written the entire Quran, we have memorized the entire Quran, and that you all are very comfortable flowing in and out of the 10 recitations. I think that's a 60-month goal. Why not?
I feel it's a little aggressive, but hey.
Why not, guys?
Think big, right?
Yeah, think big. Or at least my responsibility in the next 60 months, and I'm putting it on camera, hold me to this, is that I will put out the system so that anyone in the world who wants to pursue it at their own pace can go ahead and do that.
So we're talking about like choosing a thing and following it, right? And it just comes down to like, what is the basic adult learning? Because what is it? They tell people, hey, 10 hours a day for 2 years, you can memorize the Quran.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, for somebody who's an adult, who's past the first year of college, that is totally impractical, unreasonable, unless you really take 2 years off of your life. Now, maybe...
Then you could do it. But again, no one has that. It's not practical. And then the person who does it, he doesn't treat his family well. Like, you take the responsibility of the family.
You got family, plus, at the same time, you're going to face opposition, and family members are going to be like, hey, don't be stupid.
Yeah,
Right? Like,
don't
hey,
be. That's exactly what they're
Yeah.
gonna say. I mean, you had your youth to do this thing. Don't go off and go live in a mountain to memorize Quran. But there are ways to get to it. I hope we can start reading it. I hope adult education becomes something that's a continued process, right?
Yeah.
It's not this, oh, you have to be modern and then you start taking class online. It's this constant process of learning from someone live, learning online, learning from CDs, learning from cassettes, and making it your journey, your life process.
Yeah. And I think this is where, like, I think the breakdown, this is one of the thoughts that I was having, maybe, and this could be the start of the adult learning of transitioning into memorizing to have the basic thing down. Right? We're talking about the keys from level 4, the understand portion.
Yes.
And then having a level 2 portion of that. Now, level 1, like the level 1 portion is like not only have you memorized it, but you can write it and maybe recall most of it.
When we say level 1, that's like the first guy who just started. I'd say a level 1 just started memorizing, and up to the
up until like you got your Fatiha, you got your Ayatul Kursi and Ayatul Bid and
last few ayahs of Baqarah.
Last few of Baqarah, the 189, 195 of Ali Imran, Fusilat, Surah Al-Qiyamah,
right? Taghabun,
right?
Very powerful gems of Quran.
And you got these down, and if you can recall them from memory, recitation, and you can write it down, and you have your own mushaf down, and you can, if you have the legal capacity to do so, tag a few walls.
So, are you all like down with what he's saying? Like, can you imagine if you were able to do that? You're not like memorizing yet. You're just in that pre-stage, and you've done all these things that he said.
You're getting to know it.
There you go.
That's
so
what it is.
You're not rushing to memorize it. Like, I gotta memorize it. You're so in love that you're getting to know it, and then eventually you say, I want all of it. Yeah. First, divide and conquer the way he's saying, but imagine being able to write 4 or 5 passages, and then having that in your head.
The main thing about these passages is that, like, this is like the basic toolkit for being able to explain to anyone what Islam is.
Yeah, they'll get that as the, oh my God, these guys tricked me into memorizing the Quran, but then learning the most important parts. Yes, we did. So they just happen to also be some gems that if someone comes up to you and says, an atheist once said, how do you know there's a God? I read Ayatul Kursi, and he counted 14 proofs that there was a God. In one verse, Ayatul Kursi, all I did was read it, and then we translate it together. Imagine having that at your fingertips. But yes, imagine having what Bilal is describing and then saying, oh, I'm ready. I want the rest of the Quran.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm just thinking to myself, like, like that's level 1. Level 2 would be, there's certain, some more passages, like Surah Al-Talaq and Surah the...
Some advanced.
What are Surah Al-Hashr, the ayat of Hashr?
So if you want to get into, Brother Bilal and I are trying to put together two like lily pads of surahs that you could learn. You all know the Rahman Waqi and all that. But he mentioned the first pad. The second pad is like harder to read surahs, but that are about social justice, Surah Talaq, the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Hashr, Surah Hadid. A lot of very heavy passages that are more complex in vocabulary and reading. But once you have them under your belt, you kind of had that chunk of Quran that will make you confident enough to memorize anything.
Yeah, and then I would think level 3 is those surahs, like full-on surahs of like Surah
Rahman,
Kahf,
Waqiyah. So most often.
And all those. Once you've got that down, I think you already got 5 juz down, right?
More. Once you got just the Waqiyah list, everyone's mom has that little list. Dukhan, Kahf, Mulk, Waqiyah, Rahman, Yasin, Alif Lam Mim, Sajda. All of those. So imagine that. You did the Wal Asr group. Yeah. You did that second, and then you really polish off the major surahs that you recite in prayer. You're well into 5, maybe 7 juz. 1/3 of the way. You're 1/3 of the way.
Already, if you have those 5 to 7 down, you're already in the top 10% percentile of people who know.
Once you hit 10 juz, you're like in the ummah. You actually become a rarity. You become a gem in yourself. You in amongst a billion people. Once you go to the 30th juz, first juz, and if you get to the 10 juz mark. That's a really interesting statistic, but we all know it's like creme de la creme, right?
And that's the sad part.
Yeah, it should be the norm, right?
Yeah.
These billion people do believe that it's God's book, right, guys? And I can memorize 6 albums of Eminem, but and I'm not throwing shade on anyone. I'm just saying it's dedication, right? We listen to the tracks and we memorize them. We start listening to Quran, we'll start memorizing it too.
I think part of it is not knowing what it is.
Right. No hate to any of them and them fans out there. No hate to nobody for what. I'm not judging nobody. Do what you got to do, right? Whatever motivates you, I got no problem. But just make sure it ends up with some benefit, right?
Yeah.
That's it. I think in this tag long, I hope everyone could just figure that out. You're going to watch this episode, but people are going to be making moves, whether you're doing a line a day and doing it in 24 years, in 60 months, or everyone knows the guy who memorized it in a year or in 2 years. Everyone knows that guy. But those guys are all in an arena doing something if it takes 20 years but if you're stagnant and you're still trying to figure it out,
you gotta make some progress, right?
just decide I'm not memorizing. Don't be in that, I really should do it, bro. Just say, no, it's not my cup of tea right now, and then get there in life. Yeah. If I don't have $1 million and I said I'm hustling to get my $1 million, you'd be like, yes, stay on the grind. Why wouldn't you say I'm in the process of retaining, memorizing, interacting, building a relationship with the Book of Allah so that before I die, I'll get my millions? And so let's get the Quran or die trying, right?
Yeah.
Tat it up and down, right? Again, very offensive to everyone. Definitely someone should go out there and be like,
hey.
No, do not. With Mehndi maybe, but definitely
Actually,
don't.
one thing you could do is you can wear a shirt that's been stenciled out and just get a nice tan. And boom.
Blah, blah. Do not try any of these things. It is late. It's time to get going. This tag-along just went way. Tag-along. We just called Kevin Hart up in this one. Let me tell you.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining. For those of you who are here, whether you're watching this in its parts or in its entirety, thank you for watching. And please do share the benefit out. And may you guys be blessed with peace, safety, security.